Hey everybody, this is Jeremy with Full of Sit,
I'm Desi, Highway to Heal.
and today we're going to be going over puppy behavior / development.
Yep, so we're going to kind of go through some of the different stages of maturity, what to expect, what you should be doing, and if you haven't done it, what you need to start doing.
Yep.
Okay.
I know why this feels weird.
Why?
You're on that side.
I didn't even think of that, but
I was
it
like,
does
something
feel
feels
weird.
different, but okay.
It's kind of like we're supposed to switch.
Yeah, normally we're like flip-flop. Okay, so
Anyways.
All right, so
Side note. Let's start with about the age that most people are usually getting puppies, which is 8 to 12 weeks. It's usually not recommended to get puppies sooner than 8 weeks. We're going to kind of start there. And just kind of go through the stages here. So usually that's about the age that they're going to be, they usually just kind of come out pretty mouthy. That's how they play. That's how dogs, you get a pack of puppies together, they're usually chewing on each other. So that's kind of a thing that most people complain about, I think.
Yeah, from my experience, puppies in this age range are they're mouthy, they're pretty rambunctious. I tell people a lot that's probably the most confident that they're going to be naturally is at this age, because they're kind of coming out and they're exploring stuff. So they tend to be a little confident and a little daring at this age.
They're usually pretty adventurous, curious, nosy, everything that you would expect from an animal who's probably never had a bad day in their life or a bad experience.
Yep.
It's pretty normal.
Yep. It's also a good time to start like potty training schedules.
Definitely. They're starting to get to an age where they kind of can start understanding what that means, and they're going on their own. They have been for a while, so schedules are pretty important.
Yep.
To help keep the stink down in the house.
It's so much easier to potty train a puppy if you can get them on a pretty consistent schedule.
Yes, yeah. I have a lot of people that actually pre-feed. They just leave food out all the time. That's probably about the worst thing you can do with a dog that age. I don't really like doing it for any dog, but especially at that age, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
Food
goes in one end, it's got to come
out
out the other.
If you can schedule it, you kind of know when to be ready to take them out. So that's very important. Strangely, a lot of people think that you should just leave food out all the time because they're growing. They might not be able to tell you when they're hungry.
Yeah.
I kind of say feed them on a schedule, give them more than you think they need. They probably won't finish it. They're not hungry.
Yeah, I always feed my dogs on a schedule. I could do a whole nother video on why to feed your dog on a schedule, but it's just better to get them on a schedule.
Outside of the common sense reasons, there's a
Yeah.
lot of other stuff. That's another day though. With the mouthiness, that's a big problem that a lot of people have at this age. So how do we teach our 8 to 12-week-old puppy that we are not chew toys? And why do they chew on us?
Well, first, I like to address, why is the puppy being mouthy? Okay, so a question that I get pretty frequently is, why is my puppy that's 9 or 10 weeks old being aggressive? And that's, I don't think I've ever seen an 8, 9, 10-week-old puppy that's truly aggressive. Most of the time, they're just mouthy. They're trying to feel out their new environment. And if you think about it, dogs don't have hands like we do.
Yeah.
They feel with their mouth. So puppies are just like little babies. Anything that they find is going right in their mouth.
And sometimes it's your pant leg, it's your shoe, it's your hand.
Yep.
Something you left out that you shouldn't. And that's part of the curiosity too. Everything that they find on the floor, what's this? I'm going to put it in my mouth.
Yep.
I can't pick it up and look at it, so I'm going to chew on it and see what I think. Nix. No. Sorry, the cat is taunting the Malinois. Bad idea.
Bad kitty cat.
So,
some one later.
I've heard that too. This puppy's mean, he's aggressive, he's biting me. Why is he biting you? Are you rough playing with them? Because that encourages it.
Yeah,
that's kind of how puppies play.
And that's a mistake a lot of people make, is they get their little puppy spun up by playing with them, and then we decide, oh well, I don't want to play anymore, and the
puppy's not ready to
doesn't
stop.
understand that.
Then play with me, play with me, play with me, play with me. So that's something to kind of keep in mind on how you conduct yourself around an 8 to 12-week-old puppy. And let them chew on things that they can chew on, not you.
Yeah, give them lots of little puppy toys and play with them with their toys, just like a human baby with teething rings and stuff. Give them plenty of stuff that they can mess around with.
Yep. So when we're in this 8 to 12 weeks, we were kind of did a recap on this before we started, and we were kind of talking about how this is actually kind of more the primary time to be socializing. However, medically we usually can't because they don't have all their vaccines. So how do we work on confidence at this age? What do we do knowing that we can't take them to the dog park? Things like that. We get them walking on different surfaces.
Yeah.
We get them playing with loud bells and things like that. Maybe carry them around if you do take them out in the neighborhood to see all the sights and smells and all that before they get to the 3 to 6 month age, which is another stage of maturity. That's usually where we start hitting the town with our dogs.
Yeah, and a lot of breeders that kind of understand socializing puppies and how they psychologically develop will put together little, I call them like little puppy playpen areas. So they'll have an area designated for their litter of puppies that has all kinds of plastic toys and empty cardboard boxes and crinkly plastic for them to walk over, and they just throw all kinds of stuff in there so the dogs get used to, or the puppies get used to little, walking on different textures and interacting with different things and different noises. Yeah.
Cool. So then we kind of move into the 3 to 6 month stage, and that's where we typically enter the actual teething stage. They are starting to, they're getting ready to get their adult teeth. Puppy teeth are coming out.
Yep.
They start maybe chewing on things that they shouldn't.
Yeah, this is another stage that they get a little chewy, but it's for a different reason now. Now they're teething versus just exploring things.
Usually it's directed at furniture and stuff like that that's kind of hard and feels good on the gums.
This is the stage when they're chewing off your table legs and chair legs.
Mm-hmm. This is the stage where crate training will help you.
Yep.
We have a video on that. I also kind of feel like at this stage, they're coming out of the juvenile confidence that we had before, and they're becoming a little more dependent on us. We kind of start seeing things change in the brain. Yeah.
So mentally, they're not as confident usually as they were, as a really tiny puppy. So, maybe they've had a couple of bad experiences already, and maybe they've gotten swatted by the cat that lives in the house with them. So now they're a little worried about the cat. Like this is the stage where they're figuring out like the good and the bad both. They tend to be a little dependent on us in this stage, so they need us there to kind of boost their confidence, have their back a little bit.
We gotta help them work through some of the things that maybe they weren't afraid of. They're not quite at a stage where they can work it out on their own.
Yeah.
So it's, in my opinion, 3 to 6 months is probably the most crucial to save your butt down the road.
Yeah, normally by the time the dog's 6 months old, we're seeing some of their quirks, I call it, in their personality. So, we talked before about kind of rational and irrational fears and stuff. So most of the time, by the time the dog's 6 months old, we're starting to recognize that maybe the dog is scared of certain things, and then we can kind of help them get over that.
Yep.
The sooner you address those problems, the better.
Yeah, and this, again, it's probably one of the most crucial time periods.
Yep.
They're a little more manageable at this age, maybe. You can stop things from escalating, obviously, as time goes on, and you've done nothing, it's just going to escalate. But if you start now, making sure that they're pretty well under control and that they can handle social environments and things like that. Then once you get into a little bit, further down the line in maturity, you hopefully don't have problems that you really can't fix on your own.
Yeah.
And that kind of takes us to like the 7 month up to between maybe 7 months, 2 years old ish area.
Yeah,
and maturity.
Kind of, I call it like the young dog.
That's your
stage.
teenagers.
It's your your rebellious teenage
Yep.
years where they're gonna.
They're a little more independent.
Yeah, they're gonna test you some.
They think that they know everything. As a teenager, man.
And
I was one for sure.
Yeah,
I knew
mean,
everything.
don't we all when we're teenagers?
And then all of a sudden you do something stupid and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, shouldn't have done that.
So, by 7 months old, they're done teething. They have gotten a little more independent. They're pushing buttons, testing boundaries, seeing kind of what they can and can't get away with. They're really trying to, like, for people, we say they're trying to figure out who they are. Like, what is their role in life?
Yeah, and they start pushing boundaries. They start pushing buttons. They kind of want to see what they can and can't get away with.
Yeah.
They want to know if you're serious when you tell them to come inside or sit or eat. They're teenagers.
Yep.
We'll just keep saying that. They're teenagers. Yeah. So now if we don't address some of the small things, during the 3 to 6 month phase, maybe you missed it, or maybe you just didn't catch it, or you weren't paying attention, or you didn't know that you should. You're gonna have a little bit bigger problem once they start getting into that kind of adolescence, moving into actual maturity.
Yeah,
because again, you've now got an independent, adventurous dog with maybe some problems.
Yeah, it's the older the dog gets, the harder it's going to be to change some of those problems also.
Yeah, and if you don't, once the dog does kind of finally hit maturity around 3.5 years old, it becomes less about changing it and more about managing it.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to change it now. You're just going to manage it. And nobody really wants to be there.
Yeah. So, we used to say that by the time the dog's 3 years old, their temperament kind of is what it's going to be. Like from 3 years old and on, and for a lot of dogs, it's from 2 years old and on. So dogs mature at different rates, just like people do. But probably 99% of dogs are going to be pretty well mature by the time they're 3 years old. And any issues that you haven't addressed and fixed by then, you're just, from now on out, it's going to be a management issue. Like, I didn't fix it when the dog was 3 to 6 months, and I didn't fix it, when the dog hit 7 months to 1.5 years to 2 years old, and now, oops, it's too late to fix it, so now I have to find a way to manage it.
And that would kind of go back to probably the series we did on reactivity.
Yeah.
It's something that you've got to manage for the rest of the dog's life. You're not at a point where you can fix it or change it.
Yeah.
If you do it right, starting at a young age, chances are you're going to have a pretty well-rounded, confident dog that can handle pretty much any environment. And if it's a brand new one, they kind of get used to it in a way a little bit faster, maybe. And you're usually able to get them through some of these new things a little bit faster than you would if you kind of had a dog you were already having issues with that you didn't fix. And again, it escalates, You have a fear and you don't do anything about it, it kind of manifests. Yeah.
And then keep in mind, too, we have to take the dog's genetics into consideration. So as us as humans, and especially as dog trainers, we're fighting the dog's genetics. So, the dog's DNA makeup is what it is. And we've talked about this before. We have to do the best that we can do to make sure that the dog ends up coming out on the better side of what they're capable of versus the worst side of what they're capable of. So, again, fixing a lot of this stuff, the sooner the better. So if you wait too long, the likelihood of you changing the dog's behavior drastically decreases, and then you're stuck managing it. And then just recognize that there are some things you're not going to change ever because it's just part of the dog's DNA makeup, and
yeah,
you can't train DNA out of a dog.
No, but and that's actually is a good point. I'm glad you brought that up because we're not actually trying to change the genetics. We're not scientists.
Yeah. Right.
We can't do that. But what we're trying to do is recognize the faults in the dog's natural tendencies, the genetic makeup. We recognize those faults, and we find ways to build strength so that the dog learns to cope. They learn to recover quicker. So we can manipulate genetics to a degree by building confidence. You're not actually going to change it, but you can give the dog better coping mechanisms.
Right. I like that, coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm actually pretty smart.
We teach the dog.
I did go to school.
We teach the dog how to cope with their issues.
Yep. The right responses versus the wrong responses.
Yep.
And we're going to go on for an hour if we get too far into that.
Yeah, so we're not even going to get into that.
But you can go watch the series on reactivity if you're already beyond that point. So a lot of people are been home for a month. A lot of people have gotten puppies. Hopefully this helps you guys be successful throughout the rest of your dog's life. And if, you're already maybe your dog's already 10 months old or whatever, and you missed a few things along the way, just start working on it now. Don't give up and just say that's the way it's going to be. You can still turn it around, but you've got to work hard. And as always, seek the help of a professional if you don't know where to start.
Yep.
That's it.
Find a good dog trainer. If you don't know what to do, ask.
And feel free to make some comments here. Ask us anything. We'll do our best to answer quickly. And don't forget, always like and subscribe, share, help get the word out, help share our infinite wisdom with the world.
Infinite wisdom. That's right.
I bring the big words and he's got the dog words.
That's my problem, is trying to talk in normal words. I sometimes I have to remember I'm not talking to dog people. I spend a good deal of my time around dog people, so we kind of have our own funny little lingo when we're talking.
So I'll be the layman's person, and you'll be the dog professor. All right, guys. I hope you're enjoying quarantine. We're gonna try to get out here with some more videos.
That's right.
As soon as possible.
Like, share, ring the bell, subscribe.
Yep.
Stay tuned. We'll put out some more information. We're kind of on lockdown, the same as everybody else, so it's kind of hard getting together sometimes. But we'll keep some more stuff coming.
All right, guys. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.
All right.
Bye.
Adios.
I don't think that was too hard.
Maybe a little dry, I think.
Yeah, well, Jeremy's tired.
I wasn't feeling it today.